So, welcome everybody. My name is Robin Devine, and I am the owner and the Chief Visionary Officer of the Lymph Balance Center, which is a private vocation, like a private clinic that is here in the city of Calgary. We are the only clinic of our kind. In the province of Alberta, we have several government-run places, but when it comes to hands-on therapy and lymphatic drainage, we are looking at being the only clinic really. And so one of the things that I love doing is I love sharing all the little things, the little pieces that make lymphatic treatments really work. And so one of the things that we talk a lot about is compression garments. And most people have this vision that compression garments are really annoying. They're hot, they're ugly, they're thick, and they're a pain in the ass. And yes, they can be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit about what is your lymphatic system, how it works. And then what we're also going to talk about is why we use compression and why we need it to make things work the way that they do. Okay. So if you have any questions, there is a chat. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat button. I'd love it if you want to leave me some messages or leave some chat. If you want to chat and discuss things with other people who are watching, definitely you can do that. It's a great way of connecting with other people who are maybe living with lymphedema or know others and or therapists, etc. So it's a great way and to connect with others. And I'll make sure that my information is put up at the very end. And that's going to allow for you to send me emails or connect with my clinic. And I'd love to help out and answer any questions you might have. So, all right. So right off the bat, we're going to talk a little bit about the anatomy of your lymphatic system. So when we're all in biology in high school, or if you've taken anatomy courses since then, what you would have learned is that the heart pumps blood and pumps it around to all the cells that you have in your body. And it's sending oxygen, it's sending nutrients and water to all of your cells. When I was in high school and when I was in massage therapy school and doing all my training, I was told that the majority, normally 92% was the number they used to give me, of all the waste products that each of your cells created was being picked up by the veins and was then being transported back to the heart to continue in circulation. Around 2009, 2010, there was research done and an article was published that actually kind of refuted this whole concept. And it's now been learned that 99% of all the waste products that every cell in your body puts off is actually being picked up by your lymphatic system. That's a huge amount of waste products that we're asking for the system to do. And it's a system that most people don't even know exists. So when we look at what is inside your lymphatic fluid that's being picked up and circulated, we have a lot of different things, but it shows the value and the importance of this system and what it does. And the more that it has problems, the more that it is restricted, the more that is damaged or has pieces removed, obviously, we're not going to be able to move as much fluid. So your lymphatic system is a one-way system, which basically means that the fluid that the lymphatic system is picking up is from all your cells all around your entire body, and it is draining it all towards the heart. Once it gets to just above your heart at the base of the neck, that's where it's going to go back into your bloodstream. And then it's eventually going to be circulated to the organs of elimination, looking at your kidneys. Most of the time, you might be going to sweat glands, you might be going to respiratory system, might be going to the bowels, but it is going to those organs of elimination from the blood. So I do have clients and customers who will sometimes call the clinic and they'll say, "You're not one of those therapists that sends the lymph to the heart, are you?" because it needs to go to your kidneys. And I then get to sit on the phone and do a mini anatomy lecture about how if it doesn't go to the heart first, it actually won't go to the kidneys the way you think it does. So when I talk to clients, I sort of explain that your lymphatic system is like a hydrovac. It's picking up all this waste products from your tissues. And if it doesn't, you get tons of waste that just settles into your tissues and really has nowhere to go. So what's in your lymphatic fluid? So the lymphatic fluid is made up of 96% water. So imagine if you're dehydrated. How smooth and fluid is your lymphatic system going to be? And the answer to that is not really. Not a whole lot is going to move. So you want to make sure that you're really hydrated because it's going to help with the movement and fluidity of your lymphatic fluid. It also carries proteins. We have this amazing ability to leak proteins from our bloodstream, very specifically looking at plasma proteins. And those plasma proteins do not do well just sitting in your tissues. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But simplistically is you want to be able to clean them up. You want to vacuum them out using your hydrovac. We have lots of different kinds of cells. We've got cancer cells. We have bacteria, viruses, fungus. You know, you might have foreign cells. You might have broken down cells that need to be cleaned up. And those are there. And then we also have fat from the foods that we eat. So we don't normally find fat in your lymphatic system in your legs. Because remember how I said that all the lymph is going in one direction only? It's going from your extremities, from your fingertips, from your toes, and all of it's draining towards your heart. So the fat that we have in our digestive system is being absorbed into the lymphatics and then is going up towards the heart. It'll go through the liver and then up through your heart, up to your heart. So it should not be going down into your legs. If it's going down into your legs, you have a big problem. It means your lymphatic system is kind of busted and you have backflow, which is one of the last things we want to have. Now, there's other things in your lymph as well. There's hormones and there's, different kinds of nutrients. There's different things that get picked up. There's a lot of other things, but simplistically, this is what we're looking at. Lymph that you make in your arm is going to travel up towards your armpit. And so we're going to carry all that fluid and we're going to carry it up to the armpit. And we're going to talk about lymph nodes in a minute. But lymph nodes are what's going to clean your lymphatic fluid. It's the stuff in your lymph nodes. You have cells. They have your army. We have your fire department. We have all your defenses. We have these cells that are sitting in your lymph nodes that their job is to look for invaders. They're looking for bad guys. So when we have lymph fluid that's traveling up from your arm, it's going to most of the time go onto the back of your hand. And then it's going to send it all the way up to your armpit. And there's a whole bunch of lymph nodes in your armpit. In your lower extremity, in your legs, the lymph is going to be pushed from the bottom of your feet up onto the top of your feet. And then it's going to go, you look at the front of the leg there in the picture on the left-hand side of your screen. And what you notice is that there's a whole bunch of streams or pathways that are going along the front of the shin and the side of the shin, and see how they all kind of converge over at the inside of the knee. This is one of those things, we all have those roads in our city that go from 6 lanes of highway down to 2. This is kind of one of those situations. So that's the natural bottleneck, if you will, of the lymphatic system that happens at the inside of the knee. It then travels all the way up to your groin. So if you think for women, it would be like the panty line. For men, both sides, basically, we're looking at where your leg and your trunk meet. That is a natural collection of lymph nodes. We call that your inguinal region. We can also say it's your groin. Okay. And the picture on the right-hand side of your screen is showing you this nice, softening, very delicate, but very important area of your upper thigh called your femoral triangle. And inside you have lots of lymph nodes. It's also where your major femoral artery and vein and nerve travel as well. So there's lots of lymph that's trying to get there. So every day you are moving anywhere between 1.5 to about 4 liters or 1 gallon approximately of lymph fluid back towards your heart. So that's a pretty significant amount of fluid. So let's look at how the system works. We know some basic anatomy, and that's of course not what we're really focusing on today. If you want, you're more than welcome to go onto our YouTube channel. There's a talk on there that's called How to Boost Your Immunity with the Lymphatics. I also do a 2.5-hour talk all about the anatomy and the physiology, and I would invite you to attend one of those. Today, we want to get to why compression comes into play. So every day, like I said, you want to move 1.5 to 4 liters of lymphatic fluid back towards your heart through this main duct that goes up behind your rib cage called your thoracic duct. And so that's your LL, that's your lymphatic load. Okay. And that blue line that goes across that graph, that's the amount that we move in approximately a day. But know that in your body, you have the ability to move up to 10 times that amount if you needed to. So technically, if you had a strong system, you could move, let's say, up to 30 liters of lymphatic fluid without really showing lots of swelling in your body. And that's called your transport capacity. That's if my lymph system worked as hard as it bloody well could, and it moves as much fluid in a certain amount of time. That is your transport capacity. Okay, so it's kind of impressive. So everything above your lymphatic load is called your reserve. It's there in case you need it, but most of the time you don't need it. But there's situations where you actually create more lymphatic fluid in a day than normal. And those might be situations where maybe you got a sunburn. Maybe you sprained your ankle. Maybe you're pregnant with twins. Maybe you have congestive heart failure. Maybe you have liver dysfunction, or your veins aren't very happy and you have varicose veins, which can lead to venous insufficiency. Okay. These are all really good situations where your body, I can't do work to make your lymphatic system work harder. As a lymphatic therapist, my job is to help facilitate and work with your lymphatic system to create the most efficient movement of fluid possible. Okay. When you have a dynamic insufficiency, your body, its transport capacity is working. Your body is trying to move those 30 liters of lymph. But today, your load, the lymphatic load, or the amount of fluid that you've made today, is more than the system can work, even if it's working 100% and at its hardest. So me doing lymphatic work, I can't make your system work more than 100%. I know everybody likes to joke around saying, I can do 110. Your system technically can't. That's an impossibility. So if I do lymphatic work, what's going to happen is your system's going to go, yeah, I get it. I'm working as hard as I can. I can't do any better. Let me do my job. So I can encourage my client to elevate their legs. I can encourage them to, walk around and keep the legs moving, but I can't make their system work harder. Okay. The other side to this coin is where we have a mechanical insufficiency. So mechanical insufficiency is that you're making your 3 liters of lymph, and that's great, congratulations. But your system can't even handle that. Something has happened to your lymphatic system that has made it incomplete. that has damaged it. So it can't even move your 3 liters that you're trying to move. And that can normally be caused by surgery. It can be radiation. You could have an infection in your lymphatic system. You might have significant trauma that's caused enough damage to the lymphatic system that it can't move it. And there are some individuals who are born with an incomplete or compromised lymphatic system. So there's a couple things that we do. When somebody has a mechanical insufficiency, generally it leads to something called lymphedema. So if your lymphatic system is completely intact and you're getting swelling, we call that edema. Swelling is edema. When we look at a mechanical insufficiency where the lymphatic system has become damaged, that is a lymphedema. So there's 4 stages to treating, or there's 4 parts, to treating lymphedema. So the first thing we do is we do some manual lymphatic drainage or lymph drainage therapy. And what we're doing is we are helping the lymphatic system move and facilitating and finding the best pathways and ensuring that the lymphatic system is working to its best capabilities. We also give them some exercises to encourage lymphatic movement, and we're watching for skin issues. And there's a lot of stuff. We're going to do a talk next month about the skin issues and skincare for somebody with lymphedema. But the part that we're going to talk about tonight is compression garments. So think about your skin. Think about if it fills with fluid, what happens to the skin? It's going to stretch. And if you're young and you have healthy skin, if the swelling goes away, most of the time our skin is able to bounce back. It's able to go back to what it was before. But when you have swelling that happens over and over and over again, and it might go down throughout the night, and then the next day, it's fine in the morning, but by the end of the day, it's swelling again. There's lots of situations. Our skin starts to lose its elasticity. When it does that, it makes the body even more susceptible to swelling. So instead of the skin pushing back against the fluid saying, no, 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 I don't have space for you, you can't fill in here, the skin's going to stretch and the body's going to go, oh, look, there's space to leave fluid. And if all the fluid from your legs and your arms is all trying to get to the base of your neck, what happens when you're vertical? That lymph has to work against gravity to get the fluid up to the base of the neck. And that's hard work. Lymphatic vessels have valves, just like veins. And those valves' job is to prevent the backflow of fluid. But guess what? When the lymphatic system is damaged and there's a lot of extra fluid, that's a lot of pressure pulling the valves apart and giving space, those valves can become incompetent, non-functional. So we use compression. So there's times where we use compression and we don't have lymphedema, right? I have a history of a blood clot in my thigh from when I was pregnant with my twins. And because of that, whenever I know I'm going to be standing for a long period of time, like when I'm teaching, or if I'm flying, or if I'm going for a 12-hour drive in my car to get to the west coast of Canada, I wear compression garments because my lymphatic system has been tested and it has been weakened by having this blood clot. So what we do is we wear compression, and we can wear it preventatively. And preventative compression is fun. It's lighter. It's got the lowest grade of compression, which means it's not as tight. And it comes in some of the most amazing colors and patterns and everything. Really, it's some of the most enjoyable stuff to look at. So preventative compression would be for somebody who maybe has been working all day and notices that their ankles are a little bit swollen at the end of the day. When that happens, that's your body telling you, hey, look, I've been doing pretty good, but after around lunchtime, I got tired and my valves, oh, they're not doing their job very well. And your skin is kind of loose because you're over the age of 50. And so basically, I'm just going to fill those areas with fluid because it's available. So the great part is that you go to bed, and what happens is when you go to bed, you're noticing that, you're able to recover that fluid. And oops, I'm just going to look at somebody had their, does somebody have their mute button? Can you put yourself on mute, please? Okay. I can hear somebody talking. Sorry. Anyways, so what happens is that your system is able to recover overnight, but then the next morning you wake up, everything feels good, but by the afternoon you're starting to swell again. And this is the way your body's trying to communicate to you that, hey, I can't do this on my own. Okay. So wearing compression is one thing. In the legs, we can wear knee highs, we can wear thigh highs, we can wear pantyhose, we can wear leggings, etc. There's a lot of options. What we also can do is maybe it's in the arms. Maybe you've got, some swelling that happens in your hands because you sit at a desk all day and you're typing and you're maybe playing piano a lot, or you're working with your hands gardening, whatever it could be. If you have swelling in your hands or in your arms, we can do preventative compression sleeves and gauntlets. So sleeves, you can get lots of different kinds of colors, and they go from your wrist to your armpit. And then we also have things like gauntlets, which just go to cover. If you look here, you can see them. They're not covering the fingers. Okay. And you can get some of the most beautiful compression by using, if you can do it preventatively. And it's because it's easy to do prints on the lowest grade of compression. It really is. So the variety is endless. So the pictures that your eyes are seeing right now on the screen, this is a company called Lymphedivas. And they are a company that specializes in lower grade compression. And they're some of the most beautiful patterns and designs. And unfortunately, a lot of individuals who have lymphedema go, can I wear those? And unfortunately, I have to say no, because you need to have stronger compression. Okay. So compression will depend on what kind of phase of therapy we're doing. So phase 1 is where I'm trying to get you to decrease the amount of fluid in a limb. So if you have a lot of swelling in your legs or your arms, the first kind of compression is phase 1. And this is where we use, thicker stuff that normally has either bandages, or we're using Velcro, et cetera, to try and help reduce the size of your limb. Stage 2 is where we wear a garment that's going to keep the fluid out. And we generally are going to use a combination of both of these to get really good success in removing fluid from a limb. So we use compression because it prevents the reaccumulation of fluid. As a therapist, if I can help facilitate the movement of that fluid outside of your limb, you wear a compression garment to act like brand new skin. Your skin is weak. And unfortunately, pretty much after you hit 30, your skin starts to get weaker. And that makes it really difficult because you can't fight back against your skin stretching. You can take as much collagen as you want. It's not going to change that drastically. It's also going to increase the pressure from your skin or from the compression garment around your skin, which is going to say, hey, look, there's no place for you to put fluid into this tissue. Go somewhere else. It's going to help with your veins and the lymphatics to return fluid towards the trunk and eventually back up to the heart. It's going to make exercises more effective. we give clients with lymphedema and with edema exercises to help pump and move the fluid up towards the trunk. And if you're wearing compression, it like doubles the effectiveness, which we love. As we look at clients who are in later stages of lymphedema, where the swelling has gotten so bad, the skin actually starts to change and it'll modify and get thicker. And it's your body's way of saying, look, if I thicken the skin, it can't stretch, which means I won't take on more fluid. That's the body's way of trying to make itself stronger as it thickens the skin. And to a stage where we get at the last stage of lymphedema, where it's called elephantiasis. And what ends up happening is that the skin gets so thick, it feels like elephant skin. And it's not comfortable and it doesn't feel very nice. And so when we put compression garments on, we actually start breaking down some of that thickness, that fibrous connections, and break it down. And that's called fibrinolytic. And also it's going to help compensate for the loss of skin elasticity. So for example, you might know someone or have seen somebody who has a swollen forearm and hand that looks like this. And look at that skin. It's not going to just bounce back when I take the fluid out. I'm going to do a whole bunch of beautiful treatment. It might cost $1,000 to spend the time to do the hands-on and all the work and the exercise and all the compression work, and we might get you to look like this. That's amazing. But look at the skin. That skin will not bounce back. It doesn't go back like a rubber band. If compression's not worn and the lymphatic system is damaged, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go back. It's going to fill back up with fluid because the skin is giving no resistance to that fluid being stuck in the arm. So we want to make sure that the skin, if it can't be strong on its own, that we're giving it extra love and support to keep that fluid out and to stay out. So there's 2 phases of therapy that we use for somebody whose lymphatic system has been damaged. So phase 1 is this really intensive phase where they're coming in for treatment regularly. We're doing lymphatic work on them. They are wearing compression garments to help get the fluid out. They are putting lotion on their skin. They're doing exercises. It can be quite intensive. Phase 2 is when I've gotten your limb or your area of congestion to its lowest size possible. So we've been working maybe on somebody's arm for 2 weeks. The limb is now down 50%. We've really reduced the size, the circumference around the hand, the wrist, the elbow, what have you. And now we want to keep it there. Okay, so we use different kinds of compression to get the fluid out, and then we have different compression to keep it out. So in phase 1, when I'm trying to remove fluid, we might use stuff like this. This is called short stretch bandages. The downside about short stretch bandages is that it looks like a traditional tensor bandage or what we call an ACE bandage. The problem with this is that tensor bandages and ACE bandages are actually long stretch bandages. So you know when you've hurt your ankle and you put a tensor bandage on, how you can put the bandage pretty tight and you might even see purple toes and stuff like that. And then you know it's too tight. With somebody who has lymphedema, if their lymphatic system's damaged and you go and use a tensor bandage, you actually are creating a tourniquet and can cause a lot of problems. So unfortunately, what I have seen in my practice is individuals who thought, okay, I can't afford therapy. And trust me, I get it. And I can't afford therapy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look online and I see these pictures and I go, oh, I've seen that before. I saw it at the dollar store actually, or I saw it at a Walgreens or London Drugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go get that short stretch bandage or that tensor bandage, because it looks like it. I thought I had some here, but I don't. And I'm just going to put it on and save myself some money. The problem is a lot of times it makes it a lot worse. And then they show up and we have to go back and start over again. And when it is done wrong, it hurts. Swelling hurts. It's heavy, it's hot, and it hurts. So these are short stretch bandages. And so short stretch bandages, when you pull it apart, it stretches only a little bit, whereas your tensor bandage that you buy at the store stretches quite far. And so the tensor bandages are great because they give joint support and they help keep the fluid out. But in somebody with lymphedema, it's too much compression. And when they're resting, it actually causes more damage than help. So this is a group of different products that we use. And the other big difference between a tensor bandage and a short stretch bandage is cost, unfortunately. Short stretch bandages are approximately around $20 a roll versus the $1.99 at the pharmacy. Okay, so we use a lot of these, and this is what we use when we're first reducing, because as your limb shrinks, this is going to have an elastic piece that's going to follow and shrink with you. So it's going to keep the fluid out. So this is what we look like when we get bandaged. So we want to make sure the fingers don't swell up. You notice that we don't actually do any kind of compression over the nails, because that can be, the nails are a really good way for us to see how circulation is going in the limb. We're not trying to cut off circulation. We're just trying to prevent fluid accumulation that's excess. So the hard part about doing compression wrapping like this is it's quite hot. You see the layers, there's stockinette, and then there's foam, and then there's gauze, and then maybe there's padding, and then there's the wraps. And so when this gets loose throughout the day, you have to take it off and rewrap, because you want to make sure that the bandage is going to keep getting smaller with your leg. And that's a great thing. That means that you're getting smaller. It means the fluid's leaving the limb. The downside is that it can be a lot of work. And if you make, say, like around the knees too tight, that creates a tourniquet. And now the lower leg can't drain up and out towards the groin. And then we start bubbling up also above. So there's a lot of bandage alternatives that we've seen come onto the market, which has really helped with, as a therapist, it really helps with compliance, which means the clients are actually going to do it. And the second thing is it makes it so much easier and tolerable as a client. So we have a lot of garments that have Velcro that are one layer thick. And this is sort of like a neoprene. So it feels a little bit like a wetsuit. It's thicker. But when we use the elastics, we pull it around the limb and we do it to a certain level that you get compression. But if it gets loose, you just pull off the Velcro a little bit and tighten it up. It's not that big of a deal. This is also a night garment. And these night garments are really great, but we can also use them and use wrapping around that garment to give us support. So these are some of the tricks that we have to use, because again, if we don't use them, those elastic fibers are shot, that fluid's not going to stay out. So I have a very hard time with clients who come in and say, look, I'm willing to do the manual therapy. I'll do all the exercises you tell me. I'll make sure my skin's happy, but I'm not doing compression. And it happens more often than I want. And so unfortunately, we get very, very bad results, because unless the system is early in its stages of degeneration, or we catch it really, really fast, we don't get the results. And it ends up being more painful, more expensive, and clients get very discouraged very fast. So compression is an essential piece to our treatment. Compression in phase 2, though, we have lots of different things that we play with. And after I finish my presentation, I'll put myself up on the big screen and show you some of my stockings and compression that I have here. But compression in phase 2 is all about keeping the fluid out. So what we do is when we get to the limb and get it as small as we can, we then measure. And this is what I'm saying. Compression needs to fit like brand new skin. It can't fit like your husband's skin. It can't fit like your mother's skin. It has to fit like your skin. So we measure you. We measure in several different places. And we make sure that the garment that we're going to put on your limb fits you, just as if we're replacing your skin, without getting too much Silence of the Lambs in this. It has to fit you literally like a glove, because if it doesn't and it's too bulky, you're going to fill that area with fluid. You have now space to put fluid. And if we do it too tight, it's like using that tensor bandage. It's going to cause more damage. Anything where it's tight, if it's tight, let's say here, these ones come up to the knee. If it's too tight at the very top, fluid's not going to get out. And actually your foot and your lower calf is going to swell worse. So compression is an art form. Remember when we talked about preventative garments? Those are the ones that you get to wear when you don't have a lot of swelling, but you don't want to start getting swelling, and you get to choose the fun colors and all that stuff. Those ones are 15 to 20, and you can get them over the counter. So at our clinic, we have a turnstile in the front that's got all these different socks and a couple sleeves, but they fit size medium, small, medium, large, and based on your foot size. And even then, I still look at your ankle and I look at your calf, because if you have, let's say, small feet, but you're a runner and you have these like monster calves, a compression sock that is designed generically, the foot will be small and then it'll be too tight at your calf. So guess what you think is going to happen? That foot is going to swell. Even though you're wearing compression and you're trying to be proactive, that foot will swell. So we measure, and compression garments, it's really important that they fit perfectly. And it also depends on what's going on with your body. So a therapist will look at you and say, okay, so you're stage 1 lymphedema, or you're stage 2, you have this much swelling, you are on your feet. We look at a whole bunch of different things. And anyone who's trained in garment fitting will do this as well. So there's different compression classes. So if we are somebody who has no swelling and you're going to go flying, you could be wearing something even lower than the compression classes on the screen. It's called 15 to 20. Those are over the counter. That's stuff that I sell to somebody who's like, last time I flew, my feet were kind of swollen for a day or two afterwards. All right, well, do you have swelling now? Oh, no, I haven't had swelling in years, just the last time I flew. So they get 15 to 20. And that's wonderful. But as soon as you start getting swelling that's staying around and causing some problems, we put you into compression class 20 to 30, which unfortunately means it's stronger. It has 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury compression pressing into your limb. And the higher, the 30 millimeters of compression's down at the foot, and then it gets a little bit lighter as it goes up the extremity. And the reason for that is that's what's going to help get the fluid to go from either the fingertips up to the shoulder, or it's going to go from the feet up to the thigh. If we had higher compression up here at the thigh, what would happen? That would be creating a tourniquet. And if we created a tourniquet, fluid's not going to leave that leg. So we create this almost ice cream cone of effect. We want to have higher compression down by the feet and the ankle. That's going to help push the fluid up and out while still getting it up to the thigh. Maybe, you have a mother or an aunt or a friend who's had swelling in their legs, but it's been a year of shutdowns and lockdowns, and You've been staying at home, so you haven't been able to go anywhere. And you've been sitting around on your computer all the time, and your ankles have been swollen and they've been uncomfortable, but you don't have to put shoes on. Who cares? You don't have to go out into the neighborhood. You don't have to go to the town hall. You don't have to go shopping because everything gets delivered. So you've had this swelling now for a while and it just won't really go away. Well, in this situation, we might need to have stronger compression to keep the fluid out. There's times where you were putting on compression and it's too light. And so those individuals, they have swelling, we put on a 20 to 30 and it really doesn't keep the fluid out. It means we need to go higher. So we might go to 30, 40 compression. Maybe you have really big limbs, and you remember some of those pictures. Let's go back to this slide here. If you have legs that look like this, with these big lobules and the legs are really misshapen, well, then that's where we might be having to do the 40 to 50, or heaven forbid, the 60 plus. Okay, and when we start getting to the higher levels, that's definitely where we're going to be looking at having to get it custom fit, make sure that it fits you really well. And there's different styles of how compression is designed. So again, we cannot just go and use our neighbor's compression. If I used my husband's compression socks, my feet would swell because his feet and his legs are bigger than mine. And if he put on my compression socks, he would get a tourniquet and his feet would swell so bad and his legs would be so painful, he would never wear compression again. So it's really important to make sure that it's fitted properly and it's measured properly. I have a hard time with compression that's ordered online, unless it's been fitted and measured by somebody and they give you those exact measurements and then you can go purchase them online. And sometimes we can't find somebody who does measurements close by. So I have done fittings with individuals over the phone. And that is where I'm walking them through how to measure around their foot, their ankle, their calf, etc. So I can try and order them the best garment, because compression garments are not cheap. There's a lot of material, there's a lot of elastic fibers, and there's a lot of pieces that go into a compression garment. And so they can range anywhere from $100 to some of the specialty stuff to over $1,000 per piece. So compression garments are only good for about 6 months of continuous wear. So if you wear the same compression garment every day, you have to get a new one every 6 months, because just like your skin, the elastic fibers in a compression garment will break down. So it's not a cheap thing. And thank goodness a lot of compression is covered by insurance or government funding, etc. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. You can get compression that is too short. This is poorly measured, and I mean really badly measured. The compression on the foot should go all the way to the base of the toes. If the toes need to be included, the second image here is showing you how you can actually get what we call toe caps. And again, they can't cover the toenail. So that is a lot of measuring that goes into play, because everybody's toes are different circumferences and length. So that's a custom order. So toe caps can run about $300, and that's just for the toes to the midfoot. That's crazy. But again, if it's wrong, what's going to happen? You can damage your own system, and that's not ideal for anyone. What we also can have is where they can be too short. So again, this is supposed to go all the way up to her armpit, going across to her shoulder. And even where it's showing here down by her wrist, that should be going beyond that crease of the wrist. So this is not a good compression garment. Sometimes people get measured once and they just assume that's good for the rest of their lives, but fluid fluctuates. If you are living in Canada and then you decide that, you know, I'm going to go live down in Florida for my retirement years, you're going to have to get different compression because it's a lot hotter down in Florida. You're going to swell more. If you live at Salt Lake City, which is very high elevation, and then you move to Seattle, which is at ocean level, your lymphedema is going to be very different. It's going to react differently because atmospheric pressure plays a big role as well. There's a lot of things to take into play. Okay. So this is my contact information. You're more than welcome to jot it down, take a screenshot. It's all good with me. That is a QR code. If you want to go check out our website, you can see what we do here at our clinic in Calgary. I'm going to just leave this up for a moment. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to show you some cool compression stuff that I have here. If you're Canadian, you'll understand the term I'm about to say, but this is my tickle trunk, or what we call our demo box. So I'm going to show you some of the different compression that I have and that I use with different clients. And what I can emphasize is that every person is different. There are many different companies, and all these companies create many different lines, and I use all of them at different times. I can't stick to one company because they don't create the perfect garment for everyone. And they know that. I love compression garment reps because they'll come in and they'll say, you know, I wish I had a product like that, but we don't do that. You should go to this other company. Because in the end, it's about the client's health, and it is a deal breaker. If it doesn't fit right, it will not work. All right, I'm going to stop my sharing here. And what I'm going to show you is some different kinds of fun compression. So remember, we talked a little bit about preventative compression. So this is a lymphedema. This is an arm. And what you're going to see, I have this really funky background trying to show you, anyways, this is a lymphedema. So it looks really cool because this looks like dragons, and this is called the tattoo sleeve. And so this is from a company here. This is lymphedivas, and every garment has a different band at the top. So this one has a little bit of this sort of material here, and that's what sort of catches onto the skin. And that's great. Some people, that's enough. Some people need to use what we call skin glue, and you put it on your skin and it just makes it tacky. This is a garment from a company called Juzo. It's Juzo. And at the top, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to flip it around a bit here. See if I can get the light to hit it the right way. There's these little silicone dots. And that's a way that it sticks onto the skin. Some people love this. Some people hate this. And I mean, it's a love-hate thing. There's no in-betweens. So some people will, I only take compression garments, but they have to not have that. I need the silicone band. I don't like the dots. Please don't do that to me. Okay. So then there's those. And this is one of those cute little gauntlets. So again, the thumb goes in here and it covers over the fingers. This is not a glove. So we'd only use this with somebody who doesn't have finger swelling. Okay. Compression socks. There's lots of different companies that we use. This is a company called Achi. Ooh, I got to get it to the right level here. This is Achi. So it's got really colorful, bright options. Look, they have like all these ones that make you feel like you're a lumberjack, or ones that have like, stripes and bright colors and a little bit more athletic, sporty. And these ones are 15 to 20 or 20 to 30. And so it depends on what you need. There's some that are very thin. Look at this one. It's got Swarovski crystals on it. Like if you feel like you need to like up your compression game, that's the way to do it. There's some that are really, really thick. So, what I highly, highly recommend is that if you have swelling and you need to wear compression, or you think you need to wear compression, it's always great if a doctor is giving you a prescription and if they sort of have an idea. And if they don't, there's vein clinics, or look for a lymphatic therapist. And they're the ones, their job is to sort of decipher what's going on with your system, how we can support it better with compression, what kind of compression, and different things. So these compression garments here, these are just for daytime wear. You wear this when you wake up in the morning because you generally have less swelling first thing in the morning. because while you've been lying horizontal, sleeping, hopefully with less gravity, your system was able to recover some of the fluid. And that's ideal, but it doesn't always work that way. And for that reason, we have really fun things like this. This is a nighttime garment, and it looks like you're sleeping with a quilt, and you kind of are. It's really nice and soft. But what this does is you wear this throughout the night. It's less compression than you wear during the day, but its job is to prevent you from swelling through the night. So sometimes just being horizontal is not enough. And we only use nighttime compression when you start waking up in the morning and your swelling's not really gone. If your swelling is getting worse through the night, then you need to be wearing nighttime compression. There's so many pieces to play. But I'll tell you, is one of the hardest things ever is to say, I'm never, ever going to wear compression. Compression is so different than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's not nursey, really thick, black, or not even black, sorry, that really horrible beige color. I have some that is beige, but guess who orders the beige? I'm kidding. People who like wearing sandals or shorts or whatever will wear the beige because it looks like skin tones. But again, you don't see it very often. And it's not something that most people want. They want black, they want navy, they want all those fun things. So there's so much to look at for compression. So if you are having issues, if you're having swelling, if you are concerned about fluid and you're like, hey, how is this not staying out? How can I keep it out? If you can find a lymphatic therapist, if you can find a lymphedema therapist or a vein clinic, or even a family doctor, they should have, the basics to get you to a point where you can make those decisions as to what exactly you need. Okay. So if you have any questions, I really encourage you, you can send me an email. You can follow us on Facebook. You can call the clinic and ask questions. We do telehealth conferences all the time. So let us help you try and make the very best of any situation. And we'd love to help you out.